It's the big one. Liverpool versus Manchester United at Anfield, a top of the table clash. I'm even seeing some social media content creators call this a title decider. That's a little bit too soon. But it's certainly the biggest Northwest derby in years, maybe even in a generation. I cannot remember a time where both teams, by certain crowds, are being tipped to go on and win the league, going at it neck and neck at the top of the table like this, especially where United have come from and Liverpool in recent years. We're going to be here for the next hour or so. We've got the boys from Coppish on. We've got Zane in the house. Also, Alfie, KJ, and man like Neeks representing Manchester United. You and your opinions and thoughts are going to be massively important to us. Make sure you're smashing that like button, whether you're watching live or the playback. Let's push this past 1,000 likes. Share this on your social media platforms as well. We'll also be picking a combined 11 today as well. So you know how you can get involved in that as well. So make sure you go nowhere. We're going to be live for the foreseeable. There ain't much else going on tonight. Just Ability FC versus Arsenal. So stay with us. I'm also live tonight, by the way, on the Coppish at 8 o'clock. So make sure you jump in from this stream going to that one as well. We'll be live over there at 8 o'clock as well. But it's a big one. Some stats to throw out at you as well. It's such an interesting game. Everyone's going to have a view and an opinion on this. On Liverpool, no wins in their last 3 games, which is a rare thing to say in recent times about Liverpool. Can they really go 4 games on the bounce without winning under Jurgen Klopp? I don't know. Equally, 16 points, a 16-point deficit this season compared to last year. That is a 33% reduction. We're going to speak about that on today's show, but this is the big but. Liverpool are undefeated at home in the Premier League in 3 calendar years. That is a mammoth task for anybody to go there and beat them. With Man United, 10 games unbeaten, 11 points better off than last year. That is a 44% increase. So a lot of talk about United have only moved forward because teams above them have dipped. United needed to improve to even be in this position, so it deserves credit. But what do you think? How has that happened? And finally, the last time Man United beat Liverpool at Anfield in the Premier League was in January 2016, 5 years ago. 5 years, and we're going to a club that hasn't lost at home in 3. It's going to be an amazing, amazing affair. Let's get the panel on. Let's see what they've got to say. Smash that like button and share button. Sign up to the Discord server as well. All of that is in the link in the description below. Let's do this. Yes, everyone. How you all doing?
Good.
Bless, man. Bless.
The calm before the storm. The calm before the storm. And I quite like having Matt next to Zane. It's like, this is what a beard should look like versus Zane's. Like, do you know what
I mean? Can't hear you, Zane.
No, Zane, it's cool. Yeah, leave it on me. All good, brother. This weekend, we're going to delve into so much throughout the course of it. I want to start off by talking to the guests on the show, Coppish, and of course Zane, from a Liverpool's perspective. You find yourselves for the first time in many years behind Man United with Ollie and his boys at the summit at the top of the league. I want to ask you first of all, what have United done to improve to put themselves into a position of being league leaders after 17 games? Why
all right. Can I chime in on this one? And I'm not even just saying this to be controversial. I think you are where you are because obviously you've improved from last season, but I think Liverpool and Man City have massively underperformed in the recent, well, not necessarily Man City, but over the course of the season, Liverpool and Man City have underachieved, and you guys have fully taken advantage of that. So credit so far to Man United on that note, but I do think Man City and Liverpool have underperformed.
So in terms of when it comes to Manchester United, I'm going to drift you on this one. Have you seen any real improvement that makes you think United could, be a threat towards Liverpool's title this year?
It depends how you look on it, because when the Europa League kicks back in, it'll be interesting how Man U Cup we're playing Thursday, Sunday. We all know that doesn't really do well for any kind, even teams who are trying to get top 4. They struggle with that part. And then you got to think about if anything goes wrong with Man United, which is why we're where we are, which is injuries. You might go injury free and you might be fine and everything might be cool. But if Bruno or Rashford or Martial, or even a combination of those three, get injured, that is when I think you'll struggle. I know Pogba played well the other day, but that was one of maybe his 5 performances he gets every season. So he's used up, 2 now? So he's got 3 left. So I don't think he could carry you to the end of the season. Bruno, Martial, Rashford, I think those are the 3 that they're the ones who perform, get the goals, get the winning goals, and get you lot through. If you keep them fit, you never know. But if any of those get injured, then that's where we'll see how you lot deal with it.
Matt, do you think Man United as a football club have been a little disrespected at all? I mean, people are talking about, it's referees, it's penalties, it's everybody else declining. It doesn't really seem to be, the Man United are in a false position. There doesn't seem to be a great deal of credit towards Ollie for improving Man United and putting us into a position to pounce when Liverpool have clearly regressed by 33% this season, 16 points worse off than last year. Do you think Ollie and the team deserve credit for pouncing and putting themselves into this strong position?
Yeah, you have to give Ollie credit, because if you think about that this year, no one knew what was going to happen this season. No one did. So for Ollie to go out there and make sure you guys have been on the ball, no pun intended, you've taken advantage, like what the guys have said. Like Liverpool and Manchester City haven't been at the races as they have been over the last couple of seasons, where you guys have actually improved, where you could arguably say maybe a little bit more Liverpool than City this season. We've kind of stagnated. And I just think Man United have done well to take advantage of that. They've done what they needed to do. You know what I mean? Like, you're not conceding as many goals as you normally would be. In terms of going forward as well, I think people are finding it hard to keep up with how you actually play football. And that's very fast and very frantic, and it catches the opposition off by guard at times. So I give you a lot of credit. I just think it's so early to kind of say, even right now, who's going to win. Obviously, you're in the title race, just like how we are and how City are. But I just think there's still a lot more games to be played. But I do think people should give credit to Ollie, because up until last year, everyone was like, Ollie, we need to get rid of him. He's not the guy. And then he's doing something right now, which is, to be fair to him, look what he's done. He's put you guys in first place, and he still ain't getting the credit. You still get some guys that will tell you need to go and get another manager. I don't think right now you need to be focusing on that. You need to focus on what you're doing right now, and that's been in the title race.
I hear that. Zayn, from your point of view, do you think Man United have caught Liverpool up, or do you think they're in a false position?
For my opinion, it's basically what Drifty said earlier about the injuries. You're 1 or 2 injuries away from basically not maintaining what you're doing at the moment. At the moment, you've got a good rhythm, the squad's playing well, they're gelling together. But if Bruno, even to me, Bailly is so important to you. I think since he's come on, he's helped you defensively. So I think from my point of view, I respect what Man United are doing, because fundamentally, you guys need to, come back and try and become an elite club, because you haven't for the past many years. You get me? But from my point of view, I just think, let's see what happens when you get some real injuries like we've had, and then let's see how you perform. Because I go, this may be, a mad way of thinking, but I think considering what we've had happen in our club, where we are in the league still, that's amazing. Do you know what I mean? Because we had Man City last year crying about one defender. Do you get me? And that's the reason for it. And look at us. We've got VVD, captain of Holland, bruv. Leadership, man. He's not in the team. Come on, man. That's going to have an effect on any squad. Do you get me? And I find it quite rude sometimes that fans don't acknowledge what we're going through. We're not moaning about it, but that's why I'm surprised we're still at the top or near the top, considering what we've gone through, and we're not crying like babies like everyone else does.
Relativity is really interesting when you say that, Zane, because this time last year, City were complaining about Laporte and other players being out injured. They actually had 2 more points than you at this stage, and that's the interesting thing. You're saying you should be proud of where Liverpool are after the injuries they've had. City were in a better position than you points-wise last year. It's just all that happened last season is that your relentlessness of a club just created this gulf, and it's relativity for you. It can sometimes seem like you're doing worse because the leaders are 15 points in front of you, but a year later you're in a worse position than them, but you're celebrating that. It's just perception sometimes. Really.
Terry, can I just go in, because I had this epiphany the other day, right?
An epiphany. That's a big word.
Yeah, no, I'm coming in real right to get me right. So mediocrity, that just what came into my head, right? And I thought, Liverpool, we've had a partnership, a contract with the board that this is 5-year project to make us back to the top, the elite. We've supported them through that journey. Even those 4-0s, when we won 4-0 at Anfield against Barcelona, the fans, everyone supported and kept going, right? So we're now at the top. I just think, unlike Arsenal, Banner FC, they start to accept 4th place was the trophy. So, and then you've got Man United again. You've had various managers and you've accepted your position. And I don't want Liverpool. We've worked so hard to get to this elite level now. We should not accept drawing or not winning 3 games against the opposition we've had. And if we start accepting that, then something's not right, because how are we going to keep maintaining those levels?
I hear what you're saying there. We're going to move on to the United boys, and we'll talk a bit of Liverpool here. I'm going to come to Neeks first on this. Liverpool have had a regression this year. Whichever which way it's spun, they're 16 points worse off. That's a 33% reduction in points. Do you think this is a lack of activity in the transfer window? Is it due to the injuries? Is it them being found out? What, in your opinion, has led to Liverpool not being as dangerous and as potent this season compared to the last 2.5 years?
On the last one, in terms of found out, I think found out is a term that, I mean, it's been used on this channel and it's blown up in some people's faces. As football develops, managers come with new ideas. You see how opposition has worked and you try and find a way to beat them. I think it would be silly to say, Klopp's been found out. He's the greatest manager in the world right now. And I think he's always got new ideas of how to win games. But I think this regression from Liverpool is partly expected, because if you let's look at the Premier League. In terms of points tallies, Man City got 198 points back to back. Next year, they got 80 odd, low 80s. I can't remember what they got last year. Liverpool got 97 and 99. This year, they've dropped off to a position where Man City were last year. So if we're going by history, this kind of situation was always going to happen in terms of a drop-off. And maybe, yes, it's been exasperated by some injuries. Virgil van Dijk. I'll say Virgil van Dijk more so than anyone else, because Gomez gets injured regularly. That's always going to happen at some point in the season. Matip gets injured regularly. It's always going to happen at some point in the season. Thiago's injury record ain't great. Let's be honest. If you look at it, it's not great. I'm not saying he's a crock in the same way as Matip might be, but he's probably bound to pick up an injury at some point. But if you look at Liverpool's injury record in the last 3 years, they have kept pretty much injury-free. So a season where they're picking up injuries is always round the corner, because I would say that previous few years of injury-free was unsustainable, as well as the points tally. It was always going to be a case of Liverpool dropping down, let's say 10 points over the course of a season, I was estimating, and Man United, Man City, Chelsea having to close that gap. Now, I think right now the Premier League it's great. The Premier League is great in terms of competitiveness, in terms of excitement, but I think it would be foolish for Liverpool fans at the start of the season to think that they could get another 100-point season there or thereabouts. And when you go into a season, when you sell, yes, maybe you're worst, but your 4th centre-back and your other 2 are injury-prone, you are setting yourself up for failure. You sold Lovren and did not replace him. And you cannot then complain. I'm not saying fans can't, but as a club, they cannot then complain when Van Dijk gets an injury that is possible in football, and Matip and Gomez get their usual season injuries.
Yeah, I hear that. We had a comment here. It literally was my next question that I was going to pose to KJ. And I'm posing questions here that I see on social media as opposed to what I'm necessarily thinking. But KJ, from your point of view, do you think that Liverpool are suffering from this reported Klopp burnout?
See, I remember when David used to bring this up at the start of the season, and he was like, actually even before that, David would always talk about this Klopp burnout, and I personally didn't think it's necessarily this thing that would happen straight away with Liverpool, like after they've won the league. I thought, that they're gonna go and continue on for a year or so, and maybe you're gonna see it. This burnout isn't just Klopp burnout. This is just, I think, the burnout of modern football nowadays. You don't see teams keep up the level for 4 to 5 years consistently straight. This is, I think, what always bound to happen. It's just happened more dramatically than we first thought it would. like Nick said, we thought 10 points off Liverpool's score. Yeah, you could believe that. But the level that they've dropped to now is something that no one's predicted. I feel like they are more mentally drained than they are physically. I think, yeah, obviously with the injuries, that's one thing. But I think mentally, you're seeing the difference now. I think when Van Dijk got injured, that invincibility mindset went away. They no longer thought they're invincible. Their symbol of being Superman was gone. And I feel like mentally, that's where they're suffering the most.
I hear that. I mean, Liverpool boys, from your point of view, you think there has been, you hear this thrown around a lot, and I want your opinions, this burnout or found out tactically. Drifty, is there any truth in that, do you feel?
Yeah, the players are obviously going to be a bit more tired after 3 years of relentlessly hunting everyone down like a pack of wild dogs. But it's a weird, for some reason, we need a break, but we don't do well after we have a break. It's weird. No Liverpool fan can put their finger on it. It doesn't make any sense. It's like, we are a team who needs momentum, but they need a break at the same time, and it's weird, and I don't know how you find the balance. Like, this will be the first game we've had like a 7-day period in between the game, roughly. I'm interested to what Liverpool is going to turn up. We don't normally get this much of a break, so I'm quite interested to what Liverpool will turn up. But Klopp, the people say Klopp burn out. At Dortmund, Klopp didn't burn out. He couldn't be asked anymore. If you constantly keep buying a Lamborghini and every time you come outside, someone's popped the tires and smashed the window, eventually you're going to stop buying Lamborghinis because you can't be asked to have it happen to you all the time. And it's the same. His players got stolen every season, and he just not gave up, but it's like, I'm fighting a losing battle. Bayern Munich keep taking my best players. Real Madrid take my best players. Man U take my best players. I'm starting all over again every time. And he got burnt out of doing that. So with Liverpool, it's different because he'll have the motivation knowing he can continue to keep a squad together when he wants it to be together. Whether the players can keep up, maybe we might have to start getting a couple more 23, 24-year-olds as some of the other guys get to 29, 30, just to make sure that burnout don't happen. If you keep everyone at 29, 30 and keep trying to do this, maybe it might burn out. But we bring in the likes of your Jotas and Simicast and those younger players, and they can rotate, then I don't think we'll burn out in that way. It's injuries. It sounds like we're being crybabies in that way. It's injuries. I know we did have injuries last year, but Trent's missed over a month this season. Fabinho's missed over a month this season. Matip has barely been there, even though you feel like he's there. Naby, Ox haven't played anything. Thiago hasn't been there. Van Dijk's obvious. Alisson's missed games this season. Mane COVID, Salah COVID. Like, literally, the only mainstay in our team is Wijnaldum and Firmino. Like, if you actually go for our team, they're the only two players who've been there. And Robertson. 3 players out of the 11. This drop-off is just injuries. It's not an excuse. It's just a reason. And it is what it is.
I hear you on that. I think, do you know what I would say is this? I don't necessarily think Klopp as a manager has been found out or burned out in terms of him wanting to do things. But I just think it's normal after 3 years of being one of the best teams in the world that you've had a slight drop off and regress. And I think, as Neeks has said, compounded by the injuries at the same time. It's just quite normal. The fact you only won one league title, I think, is irrelevant. You were good enough the season before to win a league title in every other season, barring 2 crazy years from Manchester City. So you were at title winning level for 2 years. Go through history, how many teams have actually won? I think it's only been done 17 times in 75, 80 years. So 11 times in 75 years as a team retained their title in top flight football. I think it's only been done 3 times where they've done it three on the bounce. So for you to win it this year, you'd have to perform at a level that only 3 other teams in the history of top flight English football have done. It's when you put it like that, it's a very, very, very difficult thing to do. We're going to get on to talk about one another's teams and the threats coming up this weekend. But I want to go to Alfie first on a big subject that's been circulating on social media in the past 24 hours. Do me a favor first, everyone watching, nearly 2,000 people tuning in. Hit that like button right now. I know most people forget to do it. Hit the like button while we're live. Let's get this trending. Also sign up to our Discord server as well. And please subscribe if you haven't done so already. But Alfie, Jurgen Klopp's been talking a lot. He's been bleating about Manchester United penalties, referee decisions, etc. You've seen it in the news every day for a week. Man United fans have started to see in the last week or so a lot of dubious decisions go against us. Do you think Jurgen Klopp's rattled and frustrated, or do you think he's actually gone out of his way to be very clever to try and get an advantage to Liverpool this weekend with the officiating in the game?
I personally think it's 50-50, if I'm honest with you. You know, the best managers who want to get one over during the title race, they start the Jedi mind tricks early, like when Man City won it. Man City conceded the title in 2011. They conceded when we were 10 points clear. That guy was so smart. He said, no, we're not in the race. We're not in the race. No, don't worry about it. Each and every single time, up until the point that they beat us 1-0 away, for us anyway, and then they won it on goal difference. So the mind tricks, no problem. Your mind games, you need some of it. Yeah, there are a few who could do it as good as, you know, like your top tier managers. I think Jose's been figured out in terms of his mind tricks and his mind games now. I think Klopp now has to resort to this. And just to touch on what Drifty was saying, Klopp can see, you know whose fault these injuries are? I'll be absolutely honest with you. Your team cannot hack playing every 3-4 days because Klopp has chosen one competition per year, right? And that's the way that he's always chosen the elite Europe and the elite league, yeah, and just disregarded all the other competitions. So therefore, your players aren't about it when it comes to fighting on all four fronts. So the thing with talking about, I know you guys are, you know, you're I can hear some feelings, I can hear some emotions when you're like, I hope Man United get some injuries. Bro, even if we get 5 injuries, we've got a strong 22 players. We're rotating, and we've always been about fighting on all fronts, every competition. We've always been about it. So you have to look at now. Klopp is understanding that he can't hack fighting on all fronts. Yeah, you're not going to see the same team that's going to play on Sunday play us in the FA Cup. I'm certain of that. If there is, some of your guys are going to get hurt by the 60th minute. They're just going to drop with cramps. This is a true story. That's what, because they're not about it. They're not really about it, and you can't keep up that level of just exactly what Terry was saying. You cannot name me one team that has outperformed so superior for 3 years in a row where they've almost run away with it. It's unfortunate that you had Man City the first year. That's unfortunate that Man City broke the barrier of 100 points. Yeah, that's unfortunate for you. You had fantastic 96 points, I think you finished on, or whatever it was, 97, yeah, 96. And then you kept that up the next season where Man City couldn't keep it up for the 3rd year, right? So you done it for 2 seasons. Do you honestly think that you're going to keep that 90 plus points tally up for the 3rd season? You're not. And right now, you're also trying to put some of your eggs in the FA Cup basket. It didn't work in the Carabao Cup, but now you're trying to do it on all 3 fronts in a season where you're going to be playing every 2-3 games. Your players can't hack it. Trent, which we thought was one of the best, yeah, one of the best. This season looks absolute toilet, bruv. Absolute toilet, bruv. Yeah, he does. He's got the worst stats this season. Why? Because you man can't handle it.
Allow it. Can we talk now, bruv? You've been waffling for like.
I got a Callum first on this because Callum
he's been raising his hand. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, no, I don't know. No, I didn't want to interrupt because obviously I didn't want to come across rude or anything. I got to be honest, Alfie, I disagree with quite a lot of the stuff you said there. The reason I say that, so you said that we can't hack different competitions, right? So the season where we finished 2nd to Manchester City on 97 points, we got to the final of the Champions League and we won it. Therefore, we haven't put all of our eggs in one basket that season because we were competing on 2 fronts, 2 of the most difficult competitions in European football, as it were. Last season, the Premier League, we sort of ran away with it. The Champions League, I think we got to, the 2nd round or the quarterfinals, and we only got knocked out of the 2nd round because we had an awful night with a goalkeeper. So again, the narrative that we weren't competing across multiple fronts, I think is a bit clouded as well. The Carabao Cup, apart from Manchester City, no one else really goes in hard on that competition, and no one else can because Manchester City pretty much pay for the draw that they get. Like they get, let's be real. Let's be real. Not what I can, because if you look at who Manchester City have got over the last 3-4 years, I definitely can say that the reason that they get far in those competitions and the FA Cup is because the draw has been stupidly favourable to them. So the whole narrative of Liverpool not being able to compete on multiple fronts, this is a very different season. I dare say, apart from Manchester City, no one really has a squad this season to compete on multiple fronts because it's a congested and compact season. Manchester United don't either. Not taking anything away from Manchester United. You say you've got a strong 22, which again I don't disagree with, but so have Liverpool. The only difference is that we've suffered with a lot more injuries than you have. And again, I'm not going to use injuries as an excuse. It's part and parcel of football, but it is a reason why we are where we are. In terms of you saying things like Trent is got the worst stats and stuff like that, again, I think stats should be taken within context. For example, Bruno hasn't got the greatest of passing records, but we all know Bruno's a top-class player and he's an impactful player. So again, we have to take things with a snippet and a pinch of salt, and we've got to put context to just stats.
Can I stop you there just for 1 second?
Go for it, bro.
So you have to compare apples with apples. You can't. So what you've done there is you're saying what my allegation. My allegation was Trent has been toilet this season. And you just turned around and said we can compare stats by saying Bruno is terrible at passing. Bro, Bruno's been terrible at passing since he got here. But his stats
I wasn't comparing the two players, though. I wasn't comparing the two players. I was just saying how stats can be manipulated sometimes.
But we're not talking about manipulation of stats. We're just talking about Trent being toilet this season, which I don't think anyone would disagree with. Trent has...
No, I disagree. I would say he's not been as good as he has been for the last 2 seasons.
He's been poor.
No, hear me out. He's not been poor. He's just not been at the level he's set for the last couple of seasons. I think that's quite right to say.
Yeah.
But surely that means he's being poor. By the standards he's set, he is being poor. All
right, so KJ, so here's my rebuttal to that. Yeah, say for example, a striker gets. All right, let's use striker, for example.
Use Martial.
No, I'm not even going to use a name because I think it could start getting political if I do that. So say for example, a striker does 30, and then 15 in a season. Yeah, 3 years in a row. You say that third season. You didn't say it's poor. You just say it's not up to the level of the other two, wouldn't you?
Yeah, no. But you're saying that like Trent's got 5 assists and 2 goals, but he's got what, 1, 2? How many has he got this season? How many?
I'm not talking about his stats. I'm talking about his overall play.
Yeah,
you're saying he's been poor. If we're going to say he's been poor in his output, then that's fine. But if we're going to say he's been poor as a player, then I think that's a different conversation.
The last time we debated Man United Liverpool, we spoke about Trent, and I remember I spoke about his defending, and especially Drifty was saying he ain't a bad defender. I mean, I've seen enough this season, not even just the Southampton game, where he has been a bad defender, and a lot of Liverpool fans are saying he's been a bad defender. So even outside the outputs, I don't think his performance has been good. He's been hooked off in games and brought on Nico Williams. All kinds of abuse from Liverpool fans. He's getting subbed off and all played instead of a guy who's probably not good enough at this level. He's been, I mean, I guess we're digressing on the Trent argument, but he's been poor.
Yeah, we'll get back into that in a minute. I think we'll go back to, I know where the point actually started around Klopp trying to put the mind games in, which, listen, I said on my stream earlier, I'll say it again. I think it's a clever thing for him to do. I think it's a sensible thing because who wouldn't want an advantage of the referees giving decisions in that other way? I mean, Drifty's certainly under the belief that Fergie paid referees for about 25 years. And if Fergie did and he got away with it, I'm a happy man. I don't care whether he did or he didn't. Like, I'd pay now. The referee wants $1,000 for us to win on Sunday. I will give him $1,000 of my own money right now. 110% in the game. Not a problem. It's worth it to me. I want to ask a couple more questions before we go into the team. Once we pick the team, we'll go back into talking about the game. So we'll do the combined 11 as a kind of thing here. Liverpool boys, I've got to Zane first on this. With your defense looking how it does now, Trent being a bit shaky, no real fixed centre-backs playing, maybe Henderson in that position this weekend. Does Man United's attacking line, that of course comprises of Martial, that hasn't had a great season, but Rashford, who's been absolutely on fire, and I do believe there's going to be a banner in the stadium tomorrow for Marcus Rashford. Big up Liverpool fans for doing that, for all the work he's done for charity. But with Marcus Rashford, Bruno Fernandes, Paul Pogba, are you fearful of what this Man United attack could do and expose you, do to you? And do you think it could expose you at the back?
Okay, that's fine. So there's 2 points to this. I will answer the question, but the first point I want to go back to, right? Everyone keeps talking about injuries. I'm sorry. Against Everton, it was GBH and ABH, bruv. I'm sorry. The referee came out recently and saying, oh, yeah, he should have been sent off. Those weren't normal injuries. Did you see Richarlison took out his kneecap? And Thiago, if we had Thiago, I'm sure we've been in a lot different place than we are now. So people need to remember that. We're arguably one of the best midfielders in the world. We lost because he got assaulted on the pitch.
I thought
Same
you
way
were
for
be moaning about injuries.
no, I just keep it real.
You are now moaning about injuries.
Right, Zane, slow
can I
down.
answer the question now?
Yeah, I was going to say, do that for me. Before you do that, everyone watching, please smash that like button. Nearly 2,200 people tuning in right now. Hit the like and share button. Really important that you do that. Zane, are you afraid, scared, concerned, worried about Man United's potent attack?
I wouldn't go potent because, they look dangerous and are fast. But when it comes to clinical chances, I don't think they're that clinical. Like Rashford misses quite a lot. He needs quite a lot. And Martial's off form as well. So from my point of view, they look dangerous on paper. But fundamentally, when it comes in front of goal, I don't think they're as potent as you're making out. So that's my opinion.
How about yourself, Matt? Rashford conversion rate 25% this year. Bruno Fernandes 34%. That doesn't include his penalties. That's pretty good conversion rate considering Lionel Messi averages 18% per season. Are you worried? I saw a 7-year-old Barry expose the back line in the FA Cup the other day, and I know that's a little bit of a joke, but there has been a lot of space. And I know Drifty spoke. I always give Drifty props. Drifty's been talking about this since around February 2020 about how teams have been able to open Liverpool up more, play through you more. If your line is high, do you think this Man United team could expose you at Anfield?
Yeah, of course it can because you've got the pace. But at the same time, like what Zane was saying, I think it's not like Cavani's burying every single chance or even Rashford to a degree. Obviously, Rashford is playing really, really well, but it's not like they're on a level of, say, Harry Kane, where they're just getting one chance maybe, or even a Son, like one chance, one goal kind of thing. So obviously you're always going to be dangerous, but I think people are overlooking Liverpool's attack. Like, I know we haven't been potent recently, but are we all just going to sleep on the fact of Mohamed Salah, is still top of the goal scoring charts and he's missed how many chances? And how do you know what I'm saying? So admittedly, Rashford, Martial and Cavani can all turn up on any day. But then you're sleeping on Mane, you're sleeping on Salah, you're sleeping on Firmino. So I think it goes 50-50. I just think because we're the team out of form, I think everyone kind of focuses more on Man United. But it's like they're forgetting what we actually have. And that's the top goal scorer and arguably one or two best players in the league.
Yeah, Matt, no one here has ever discredited the attack. The question was about your defense and our attack. So, of course, we're not going to speak about your attack right now. You know what I'm saying? Like it, and the people were talking about our clinical edge. Yeah. Again, you look at your own. I'm not trying to say this, but look at your team as well. Also, this season, you guys also haven't been as clinical. Even if you look at Son in the last game against Brighton, 1-on-1, you expect him to bury it. He doesn't bury it. This thing about being potent and clinical, is unfair because most teams take multiple chances and multiple tries to score a goal. Otherwise, we'll be having score lines like 10-8.
No, but you're taking what I context, bro.
No, I'm not saying you specifically. Yeah. I'm saying in general, the point of being clinical. I think people chalk it up to me. Well, if he's not scoring his one shot he always had, that's it. You know what I mean? Like most players take.
No. But what I mean is this. What I mean is this. I'll give you an example. If you gave, I don't know, Harry Kane 10 chances and gave the same 10 to Rashford, what I'm trying to say is I reckon Harry Kane will score more than Rashford. That's what I mean when I say that.
Yeah.
So do you know what I'm trying to say?
I think there's that. When I look at it, is this. I think both Man United and Liverpool have one player who's been outstanding in the attack, just Salah. I was actually surprised to see a lot of Liverpool fans talking the other day about him being the player to be dropped out of the front three and not Firmino or Mane. Mane, who I loved, had an absolutely bang average season. If you're an alien that came out of the sky and watched Mane this season, you'd want to replace him with an average player like Zaha. Like, you'd be like, oh, he'd be better. You know what I mean? You would. Like, he's not been this season.
Commentary. Let's not get carried away, bro.
Terry, that's a dig for Zaha more than Mane.
Yeah,
Terry's got an agenda.
Mane, no, I'm saying if you didn't know football, this season Mane's been bang average. In the same way that I think Anthony Martial has been bang average. Both have got a very potent player in Bruno and Salah on the attack. And I think the difference is you guys have got to come at Man United. You're 3 points behind. You're going to come at us. You're going to open up. That high line of Liverpool's has been exposed this season, and it's going to be our best chance of beating you. I can't see you playing low block, which is generally speaking been the hardest thing for us to break down. However, I'm never going to discount Liverpool's attack, especially up against our defense, because we're not a settled back line yet. Even with Bailly and Maguire next to one another, I don't go into games when thinking about our defense in the same way as I did when it was Rio and Vidic, where I was pretty much relaxed. You knew you could concede, but you were pretty much relaxed. You didn't think there was going to be mistakes. I still feel that things are a little shaky there. Question I want to pose to Drifty. What do you have to do? Is there going to be a special plan to stop the majestic magician in Bruno Fernandes?
Oh, shout out, Mr. Give the Ball Away.
38 times, Trent. 38 times.
Nah, there won't be no special plan. It'll just be we do what we do. If it works, it works. If it don't, it don't. See, again, here's one of the things. I don't want to be going on about injuries all the time, and no Liverpool fan does. But again, they're not excuses, they're reasons. Now, one of the main reasons why I think our team is suffering massively this season, it isn't the injury itself. So you look at it and you think, okay, there's no Van Dijk, there's no Gomez, there's no Matip, there's no senior centre-back. Straight away, you would think that means we'll be crap at letting in goals, when we're actually one of the best defensive teams this season in terms of numbers, of how many goals we've let in. What the problem is that Fabinho and Henderson having to play in defence takes away what they bring to midfield, that pushes us further up the field, provides protection to the defence, and then allows us to be able to do what we do. When you take Hendo and Fabinho out of midfield, even though Gini and Thiago, for example, are ballers, they don't necessarily do what we do as a collective. So if you was to put Thiago, Fabinho and Henderson in midfield, or Thiago, Henderson and Wijnaldum in midfield, Thiago can dictate play and do what he's doing because he's got those workhorses around him, hustling and doing what they're doing, winning the ball back. So Bruno, for example, in a peak, fully fit Liverpool team, Bruno don't breathe. He wouldn't breathe. Gini, Hendo, Fabinho, whoever's playing midfield, they'll be all over him. He'd get no time to breathe. He wouldn't be able to do these things he does. But when we got to play people like, say, Chamberlain and Jones and these type of players, who aren't bad players, but they're not of that same type, they cannot then do what the others do, which is create the engine in our midfield, which then allows the team to be stable. So we're not unstable because our defenders are missing. We're unstable because our midfielders are playing in defence. I
hear you on that. I'm going to let Alfie respond. Then we're going to do score predictions and then move on to the team, the combined 11. The combined 11 is going to bring up a lot of these individual player conversations, which is why I'm trying to wait more for that. But Alfie, have your say, then we're moving into score predictions. Let's go.
Bro, look, I apologize, bro, for what I'm about to say, but each and every single one of you, man, said, I know injuries ain't an excuse, and started off by talking injuries ain't an excuse, and started talking about injuries, and you keep going on about injuries, and all you've been talking about, and all I've heard is injuries. It doesn't matter what you then say then thereafter, because it sounds like what you're trying to do is trying to play mind games with yourself now. Are you trying to convince yourself that that there are other reasons for your downfall? Because as far as I was concerned, you man got smoked by Aston Villa with your defense intact. There was no what if you had one person missing, you could still get smoked 7-2. Is that what you're trying to say? Because
yes, when it's Adrian in goal instead of Alisson, yes, that can
happen. Listen, honestly, do your fans a justice, bro. Like honestly, do your fans a justice and just come real with it. Be real with it. Do you know what I mean? Like we can sit.
Did you watch the game? Did you watch the game?
Yeah, of course I watched the game.
You watched the game, you would have lost 4-2 instead of 7-2. That game was that. You would have lost 4-2.
No Liverpool fan is ever going to make an excuse for losing 7-2. It was embarrassing. But 3 or 4 deflected goals and Adrian going to the shop about 8 times during the match. It is why we lost that game. So
whatever the reason was as to why you lost, that's not the point I'm trying to make. The point I'm trying to make is you couldn't use injuries then and you got smoked. And now, even though you are dropping off, you're dropping off as a team, you're dropping off as a confidence. And one of the other most important things that we haven't even touched upon is everyone needs to understand, every time Liverpool have been in a title race for the last 3 decades, 30 years, You man have lost. You haven't got the bottle to be in a title race and win. Last year, there was no title race. You were so sick, you ran away with it. You were 20 points clear by about January. That's not a race. That's not a race. You man ran away with it. But every single time, I remember when you guys came, to Old Trafford.
It's a race. The other just couldn't keep up, bro.
And you beat us 4-1, in that title race, and you lost. I remember when Suarez was in your team. I remember when Suarez was in your. One second. I remember when Suarez was in your team, and Gerrard slipped, and thanks to Jose Mourinho, you man bottled it again. And I swear it was at Palace, the final bottle came when it was like 3-3. When you was in the first year,
I'd love to know what the point of this is.
I know, talking about history for what? What's history got to do with it?
Is this a toasted or is this a fried waffle? Because I don't get what's going on right now.
Stats, bro. The stats show that every time you've been in the title,
all right, that's like me saying you fall most times in the Champions League then, because how many times you've been beaten in the final, how many Champions League,
and that's why we got knocked out in it. But we're talking about Premier League.
Who cares? What's that got to do with this game?
That's what I'm trying to say. It's kind of pointless, bro.
It got nothing to do with this game.
We're going to move on to the predictions. It's interesting. Liverpool fans, do you agree? Or Liverpool and United fans, do you agree with what Alfie said? Will Liverpool crumble in a title race where there's people neck and neck with them? I think that's the point he's making, saying that if you're in a neck and neck race, you will crumble. Everyone's going to have an opinion. Red United here says, seriously, what will it take for a Liverpool fan to give credit where credit is due, to be objective for once? No one is saying you are not the best, but be real. Our attack will scare any team in the world. That is what Red United has had to say. Thank you very, very much for that. Do you know what I find interesting about the 7-2 thing? Where I think we always get the players are missing. That's why we're not as high in the league. The 7-2 was more, a few deflected shots. Take it away from scorelines for a moment. I've been saying since February that Liverpool haven't been as dangerous, as potent, or as scary. And I don't ever mean that without any respect. Disrespect intended. Even when you played like Sheffield United and smaller teams at earlier points in the season, I think you conceded first, they were opening up opportunities. And that's something I didn't see from Liverpool for 2.5 years. That's the biggest thing that stands out to me, is teams have been more encouraged to go and have a go at you. But it'll be interesting. We're going to do score predictions. And then, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go through and look at the combined 11. We want your inputs in this. Remember, we'll go through the super chat rules on that, as you know. But score predictions first. I'm going to go to Drifty first. What's the score going to be on Sunday, mate?
I don't do score predictions. So.
Okay, victory. Who's winning?
Who's going to win?
Who's going to win?
I predict the riot. That's what I predict.
I bet, mate. Callum?
I'm actually going for a 1-1 draw.
1-1 draw. Matty boy?
1-1 draw as well,
1-1. Zane?
I'm going for 2-1, man. I got a Thiago agenda, and I just think him being in that's going to give that something, that spark we've been missing, and stop being crossing FC, and we're going to deal something. So close game, but 2-1. We'll come through it with the end. It's a bit of Shaqiri deflected goal, I think. We'll win the game for us.
Alfie?
3-1 out of the breaks. Man's going to get exposed. Allison, Becky with the good hair is going to be on the floor. 3-1. I said 3-1 2 weeks ago.
Do better, Alfie. Do better, bro.
Alfie, I just give you a bit of warning, bro. You're going to get clipped up a lot if you continue this.
Bro, listen, I'm about it. Win, lose, or draw, I'm here to take the smoke too. If we lose, I'll be here, forehead out. You man come smoke me. No problem. No problem.
It's not even that, but if you're going to come out a player, don't come at Allison. Like when we've seen what De Gea has been on the last couple of years. Like, let's be real now. Do better, bro. Do better.
My allegiances are with De Gea, not Allison Becky with the good hair, bro. I don't know if you know, bro.
No. You can. Your allegiances could be there. It's just you don't want to win the win, though, do you? That's not the smartest thing to do.
Listen. Allison is the most injury-prone goalkeeper I've ever seen in my life.
We're going to come to players in a minute when we do the teams here. Neeks.
I've had enough from Liverpool fans, innit? Callum going 1-1, Matt went 1-1. This is the team that's they were celebrating 4 trophies in a calendar year like it was a quadruple, and they're talking about drawing with a team teacher Man United. They're shook. They are shook. My brother's a Liverpool fan. I can't even get a straight answer from him these days. Wait, were you watching the game this week? Are you gonna listen? You lot are shook, and you should be shook. I'm not gonna lie.
I said 2-1. I said 2-1.
Yeah, but you said that's because you got a Thiago agenda. That's a reason. It's just an agenda, not a belief, just an agenda.
We're in poor form. Only a
it.
fool would be in poor form and then start chatting crap about how great they are. Like, we're just normal, sensible people.
When Man United under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, who none of, I'll say none of you, but definitely not you, Drifty, don't respect. You haven't respected him for 2 years, and you think we're going to come to Anfield.
Solskjaer's not the reason why you're doing well. The reason you're doing well is because your star players pull out big moments.
So we're a better team than you then? Because it's not Solskjaer, it must be the players. Or is it the players and not the manager? Which one is it? We're a better team than you?
But I said, at the moment, Man United are in a purple patch, and I will always congratulate or I will give credit where it's due. If you continue it, if you continue your purple patch, then I will be like, you know what, maybe I need to look at it. Maybe Solskjaer is better, blah, blah, blah. But only a month ago, you were top of the Champions League and then went out. Don't talk to me about Solskjaer, please. Just don't.
Drifty.
Just don't.
How long is this purple patch? Because since February, we've only lost 3 league games.
Well, Everton are only 1 point behind us. Purple patches can last longer than others.
How long is this purple patch if since February we've only lost 3 games in the league?
So are Everton as good as Man United because they're only like 1 point behind?
Answer the question, bro.
So how long is a purple patch?
Purple patches can last as long as maybe they can last a month, they can last 2 months. Who knows? But a purple patch is when you are playing above your means. You're punching above your weight. Man United are punching above their weight at the moment.
On a 2-year purple patch because in 30 years before that they ain't done nothing. So they're on a
Can I ask you guys a question? Can I ask you guys a question? Serious question. Because I'll sit here and I'll tell you, I don't rate Ollie that highly, but I'll give him some of the credit for where you guys are. You see, when Liverpool almost won the league with Suarez and Sturridge and Sterling and that, who would you say was the main reason behind that?
The manager.
You say the manager was the. Honestly speaking, you reckon the manager?
Let me answer that. Yes, yes, I do. But I also think he was one of the reasons why it fell apart. Because I've said this about Rodgers. Then I did content on it. I don't think he's a great manager. I think he's an astoundingly good coach. I think he's a world-class coach, tactician. But I don't think he's a manager. And your team didn't have the balls in the end to get over the line. You capitulated. And then the following season, yes, you lost some players that summer. I swear Suarez. Did Suarez leave that year or the year after?
Suarez.
Suarez left. You didn't get the replacements in. And then the biggest hindrance you had the following season was Champions League football. And I said this in one of my previews to the season. I said, this is where you'll see how good Brendan Rodgers is. Rotating a team, because you had to when you're in the Champions League. It's one of the hardest things to do because players become disgruntled. You can't play your strongest team 2 games per week. And that's where he really started to struggle. So I do put a lot of the credit on managers. You have to. And this is why I say you have to, right? Because if it's just on the players, then managers should never be sacked. If it's only the Man United players now that are making us look good by performing, by that same definition, when we do badly, you also can't look at the manager and you've got to blame the players for not performing. And this thing about individual moments of brilliance, every team in the world has moments of individual brilliance because it wasn't Jurgen Klopp's tactics, a few examples, that made Trent take the early corner against Barcelona. It isn't Jurgen Klopp's tactics.
It wasn't, but it was Jurgen Klopp's tactics which allowed us to actually get back in that game and smother Barcelona.
Okay, but so some are Man United's. Man United have a style of play, and then the players have individual moments of brilliance within that. Otherwise, you could take KDB out of Man City and put an average attacking midfielder in there and then produce the same because it's the system and not the player. The difference is when you have better quality players in a good to world-class system, they perform better.
Okay, but the reason I asked that question...
Otherwise, it wouldn't matter if you had... Then you're in, if it's all about the manager and the system at a club like yours, because you're a manager, your injury shouldn't make a difference. But it does.
So what is Man U's style of play, Terry?
What do you want to call it? I mean, we can name it whatever you want. It
hasn't got. And I'm not even saying this disrespectfully, but say Mourinho, for example. When you watch the team, whether you like it or not, you know that's a Mourinho team. When you watch Pep, you know that's a Pep team. Even Arteta, before he got found out, I started to notice, that's how Arsenal play now. I don't see that with Man United.
Man United style of play, I wouldn't say has a name. For me, I call it. I refer to it as fluid football, and what I mean by that is this. We play in a way where we try to move the ball from midfield into the box. Generally, we try to do it within 3 or 4 passes. So it's a direct style of play. one-touch, two-touch football. That's why Bruno Fernandes can be frustrating because he looks for little flicks and tricks where a lot of people prefer the slower approach, the pep approach, where you're taking more touches, you're being more methodical in your approach. That isn't what Ollie has set the team up to do. It's 1, 2, 3, 4 passes. It's frenetic and there's a lot of movement. That is generally it in a nutshell. So one of the reasons why our penalty consumption has increased massively, because the ball moves around quicker, the players are making runs in all sorts of directions, and it makes it hard, especially when you have certain players like Rashford that are absolutely electric in pace. That's what the style is. Now, I don't know if it's got a name. The formation is the same as the majority of other teams. It's either a 4-2-3-1, sometimes a 3-4-3-4-3, and occasionally a 3-3-3. But the style of football is very much the same until we come up against teams that Ollie recognises play better football than us and would probably beat us in a toe-to-toe argument, and we go to a more counter-attack style of play, which in essence still operates in the same methodology. It's 1, 2, 3 passes to get ourselves into the attack. That's what he does. It's very recognisable. We have a massive shape that you'll see it on Sunday when we attack you. We have this T shape that we use. We have our widening on the flanks that move, and there's a striker and a player behind him. We take up the position before the movement begins. It's very regular. So there are shapes and there are patterns. The difference is with Man United, we're the only team I've ever seen in history where individual moments of brilliance are looked at as a negative. Yet in every other team, if KDB's in a dead end and he pulls a pass out the edge of his foot that goes across the 6-yard box that only he and 2 other players in the world can pull off, it's wow, Pep system, bruv. Yet Bruno does that same pass, and it's like, see, without that individual moment of brilliance, Ollie would be dead. And all of our clubs, think about the Suarez's, when you came back in the Champions League final or Gerrard's equaliser in the FA Cup final, nobody turned around and said, Rafa should have been lifting the trophy. It was individual moments of brilliance that did it, not his system. It's all a load of old fucking wank. It's
I think you're picking up. Sorry, Alfie. Sorry to keep on cutting you, Alfie. Sorry. The reason why I say it's different with those examples you've used for Liverpool, especially the Rafa one, because Rafa has enough to show that his tactics have got us through. Like, I'm not taking anything away from Ollie in terms of his players are creating stuff out of nothing and things like that. What I will say is, you look at Ollie as opposed to other managers, I don't think Ollie's got as much credit in the bank with his tactics as other managers do, such as your Benitez's and stuff like that.
No, you're right. But I'd also argue that Arteta and Lampard don't have, and I'm talking about even before the FA Cup final.
Don't speak about those poor managers, bro.
No, Drifty mentioned Arteta.
Wait, 1 second.
You didn't build him up, bro.
I just said you can tell how we play.
Wait, 1 second. The point, they don't have anything.
It was dead, KJ, but you could see what it was, isn't it? Like,
they didn't have anything in the bank, yet people were trying to create this myth that they had tactics and Solskjaer don't. The reality is there's no team without tactics. As long as you've got a manager, you've got tactics. Now, whether you like the tactics or not, whether you think it's pretty or not, whether you can even make it out as it stays the same from game to game to game, to suggest that the players go to training and on their iPhones and then they go into the match and just like have fun is ridiculous. And it was some social media banter, but it's ridiculous.
So on the freestyle thing, which you mentioned there, see, again, it's used in a derogatory term. So Alex Ferguson had, but it is because Ferguson used the freestyle approach. And what I mean by that is, I like what Ollie does in the sense of he will change the team's approach to a game. Not the shape. The shape is pretty much universal. Mm-hmm. So that's a tactic. But the approach changes depending upon who we're playing. And you do win some and lose some. I think the biggest hindrance this Man United team has is the mental block at getting over the line in really big moments. I would admit that. I've said it many, many times. But this notion that he just sends, it's like, I don't know what we do in training. I think we just work on counter-attack. He sends the players out with no instructions. This, for me, is hyperbolic bullshit and lies that the only people that cotton onto it are rivals, because I hear all rivals say it, because it's a great way to stick one to United, and people that dislike Ollie. You don't go top of the league with having zero he is not turning around to Paul Pogba, Bruno Fernandes, Rashford, and they're going, right, boss, what are we doing today? And he's like, I don't know. You guys just go and have a little meeting and sort it out. That's how they make it sound, and that's ridiculous. For me, I like the style approach of going out there and you go, do you know what? We will set up differently against Liverpool and play differently against Liverpool than we will against Arsenal, and then we'll play different against Crystal Palace. Doesn't always work, But progressively over the last 12 months, we've become we've got the best points return in the league over the last 12 months. So it's progressively getting better. That will build points up for Ollie. If he wins the league playing that way, then what are we going to say? So for me, I'm comfortable. Go on, Matt. And then we're going to do score predictions and move on to the team. Go on.
Here's the thing, because you can look at even up till now. You can say up till now, no one really knows Man United's style of play, especially maybe the rivals, yeah? So that's why we say freestyle. So, yeah, so from when you've done it before, there was no DNA. Like, so you see how we were talking about with Klopp. You can tell a Klopp team, you can tell a Pep team, you can tell a flipping Mourinho team, yeah? But under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, up at least until this point, there's a reason why we were saying freestyle, because we couldn't see any DNA in terms of how you were playing. And hence why you were very inconsistent at the start of the season. No, wait. But now you're top of the league. So now that's why I said at the start of the show, if you remember correctly, I was the only one that said, I give you man credit, because I do think Ollie has started to make some changes in the team. And that's where the freestyle thing came from.
If you say freestyle, if you say freestyle in that regard, I don't have an issue with it. It's when Man United fans say freestyle football, what they say and the undertone with it is, we don't do any training. We just do fitness work. And then he sends them out on the pitch with no plan of action. That for me is when it becomes bullshit.
So why do more Man U fans want Ollie out than in if he's got good tactics?
I don't think that, again, I don't think that's true. I think the very noisy Man United fans want him out. There's a hell of a lot of support out there for him as an example. But at the same time, you don't improve like Man United have done over the last 12 months if there isn't a system, if we're not training right. You would lose that dressing room. With all due respect, if Jose lost dressing room and LVG lost the dressing room, when they clearly have a style of playing tactics, if there's no training going on, I don't even mind people saying I don't like the style. I don't think it's working. That's cool. To say there is none, for me, it's too extreme. But we're going to finish the score predictions.
Can I add 1 point, Terry, though, please? Please add 1 point.
Dane, we'll come on to that later. We have to move this on.
If we score first, I can see us getting 2 or 3. If Liverpool score first, I can't see us winning. I do think Liverpool will score first. I'm going 1-1.
1-1. KJ?
2-2.
2-2. I'm going to 2-1 Man United. I'm going with. I'm just going to stick that in there now. I'm going to go with 2-1. I've got to back my boys. I listen. Yeah. I don't. Do you know what's funny when you predict your team winning? People go, so you don't respect Liverpool. No, I do respect Liverpool massively. Right, we're going to be picking the team now. We're doing the combined 11. You know the rules, viewers, when it comes to this. It's really quite simple. If you want to get yourselves involved, it's the bidding process for players. So it's any super chat you want to put a player in, as little as 99p, and that player stays until somebody either outbids them or puts more money on somebody else to go into the team. But of course, we're going to give the panelists a chance to debate this and put it out there. I want to start with the goalkeeper because it could be quite quick. It could be quite easy. Are we all in agreement that it should be Alisson?
Yeah, because of that hair, definitely, man.
So we're going to put Alisson into the team. I'm actually going to zoom out of this a little bit because done. Just so the viewers know as well, I haven't included Gomez and I haven't included Van Dijk because it's based on form this season. They're out injured, so I haven't included them. Fullbacks.
Wan-Bissaka and Trent. Wan-Bissaka and Robertson has to be.
Yeah, Robertson.
Not according to Callum. He wants Trent in there, and Tsimikas left.
So is Wan-Bissaka been good this season?
He's been better than Trent.
That's the question.
He's got a goal and got an assist.
I'm genuinely asking the question.
He's played more than Trent. I don't know if I say he's better than Trent.
He's been good. He's been decent.
This season he's better.
Okay, fair enough.
I'll give you that one just because Trent has been injured a lot.
No, Trent has been toilet, bro. Just say it. Just
1 second.
He's been toilet.
No, he hasn't played well, but he's also missed about 8 games out of the 18. He's been injured a lot. So, I'll give it to Wan-Bissaka.
Wan-Bissaka's played 15 Premier League games this season. Trent's played 15.
Yeah, so he'll get it on default. Yeah.
Trent played 15.
The same. Serious. All right.
Yeah.
They played the same. So he hasn't played more. He's just played better. Like, is what it is.
I mean, it's an interesting one. I think we all know how good Trent is, but I was saying this to people a little while ago. What Trent did in them first 2.5 years,
unbelievable.
Was actually, well, it's not even unbelievable. It is unbelievable. I think I'd call it abnormal because young players go through inconsistent patches, and we even saw at the start of the season that AWB was struggling a little bit. He was making mistakes. He was cutting in too deep. You're just learning your game. I've already put the midfield in that I would pick, and then we can debate this out. I did that while we were off air. Remember, you can get your super chat bids in if you want to take players in, take players out. But the midfield I've picked is Henderson in the middle with Pogba and Bruno Fernandes.
Yeah, you put them in the centre backs, bro.
Oh, sorry, centre back. So let me move them into the midfield. So that's the midfield that's been picked. Centre back wise, though, who would you pick this season?
Fabinho's got to be in there. He's done amazing since he moved back there.
And Bailly.
Yeah.
How many games has Bailly played?
And Bailly?
Bailly
Bailly only played about 3 games this year.
Maybe 5.
25.
Come on, guys. That's
games.
not right.
Yeah, but by his power rankings, yeah, to put in
Well, I'm saying in those games,
come on, man. Let's get real, man.
bar the 6-1.
Bailly's played 3 games and you want him to be the centre back. I don't even rate Maguire.
Nick don't even believe that. He's smiling. Nick don't believe it.
I did my combined 11 and I had Fabinho and Bailly. I had a reason for it, but I agree. I understand. I'm not going to argue the point. Yeah. He's only played 5-6 games. It's not enough to go on. Maguire, but the 5-6 games he's played have been brilliant, and some of them even match winning, like the Villa game, for example. But I do get the point. 5-6 games over 16, 17.
If you're not having Bailly, and then Maguire goes in there. I don't want to
by default.
Exactly, it don't matter because let's be honest, the only Liverpool defender going to get there is Fabinho, so you can choose whatever Man United defender you want.
If Bailly can get in there, Matip's been exceptional in every game he's played in.
But you just said no, so he's not getting in, bro.
No, but I'm saying if I see Bailly going in there, then that's when I would argue. That's what I'm saying.
How many games Matip played this year?
I think he might have played
about 8, maybe, and he's been very good in every single one of them games.
More than Bailly.
Fair enough.
Cool.
We had a super chat here. I need to address. I can't put it on the screen from Simon, who has put Luke Shaw in at left back. He paid $1.99 for that. So Luke Shaw is going to.
It's just vibes. It's just vibes, basically. Hey, I didn't realize the midnight vibes were so early today, bro.
Listen.
Behave yourself.
Wow. Let me just address the audience. So to get Luke Shaw out, Luke Shaw has $1.99 to his name, so you've got to bid more than $1.99 just to get Luke Shaw out of this team of the year. Liverpool fans, are you going to back your team? We move on to the central midfield area. We've got Bruno, Henderson, Paul Pogba. Any disagreements on that?
Yeah, Pogba shouldn't be there.
For who?
Yeah.
What?
Listen, here's my reasoning. Because Pogba, how many great games or good games would you say Pogba's played honestly this season? Honestly,
the last 6 or 7, most definitely.
Yeah, 6 or 7. Okay, because I would arguably say Gini Wijnaldum played at a high level as well, especially at the beginning of the season, very high level.
Yeah. But I ask you this: what is he contributing to winning the game besides running around and passing the ball?
No, we're not doing that.
Don't do that, AJ. You're better than that.
We're not doing that.
You're better than that.
We're not doing that.
You can influence it without goals and assists.
Hold on, 1 second.
I'm asking you a question. Relax yourselves, man. All right, go.
All I'm going to say is this: he's a key cog in how our midfield actually functions. So yes, he may not get the assist, and he may not get the goal. But he might get the assist before the assist and things like that. And you can't take away what Gini Wijnaldum offered to this Liverpool team, you know?
Yes.
You might not be able to put it down on a piece of paper, but if you watch the game, you will see what my man does.
Yeah,
that's what I'm trying to say.
I understand that. And that's a fair point. But Paul Pogba also does that as well. Like, if you see our start of the goal against Villa, that came from Paul Pogba. The start of our goal against Sheffield United, that came from Paul Pogba. Pogba does the same things you're saying Gini does, and also gets goals and assists.
How many goals and assists has Pogba got? How many goals and assists has Pogba got so far this season?
That's what I was going to say.
In the league, just 2 goals.
In the league.
No, but not even just that. About 5 or 6 weeks ago, Gary Neville and Carragher were arguing about Bruno and Pogba can't even play in the midfield together, and they weren't. They weren't even being picked together.
And 5 or 6 weeks later, we're top of the league with both of them.
No, but my point is they weren't even playing together. So if you're not saying Pogba's been great all season, he wasn't even playing.
This is what's been brilliant about Paul Pogba, right? The season got off to a slow start for him. He had COVID, and so he came in slowly and surely. He wasn't in the team straight away. But what stood out to me massively about Paul Pogba this season, more than anybody else, is that he was kind of being looked at as, he's the villain, he's the virus, he wants to leave. People calling him all sorts of nonsense online. Every time he came on from that bench when he wasn't in the lineup, every time he started, he tried, he worked hard, he helped the team. He's dominated so many midfields this year. He's been so commanding in his distribution. It's been unbelievable. He hasn't been the creator because he's sitting so far back. He's been the deep line playmaker, and he's been brilliant. Man United's form and upturn in the last 10 games, which has seen us reach the summit. Paul Pogba has been instrumental in those performances. The problem we have nowadays as football fans is we only really want to recognize it when you see a goal at the end of it. So his performance against Burnley and
Gini Wijnaldum.
No. But he isn't. But I've never slagged off Gini Wijnaldum. I think Gini.
No, we're not saying you. We're not saying you have Tel, but this is what we. This is the argument.
You made a valid point. Yeah, you're making a great point. That's what I'm trying to say, though. As well, Terry.
But on top of that running of the game, he's also added 2 very crucial goals. The first in the comeback against West Ham, and then of course the winner against Burnley. So he's added like legit clutch moments to those performances, which is why I would put him in. We've had a few super chats come in as well. We'll do the bid super chats and move people into the team once we complete our 11. I think that's probably the fairest way of doing it. So in terms of the board, are we taking Pogba out and putting Gini in, or are we leaving Pogba in? What's the vote on that?
It has to be Gini.
I would put Gini in.
Wait. If you're having Gini, I'm taking Henderson out. Yeah, I'm putting in Fred.
Well, that's silly. Though.
KJ, you're
that's
silly.
No. I'm being silly right now. Then I'll happily be silly.
All right. So why is it? Sorry, can I just ask? Why is it such a crime that Gini goes in ahead of Pogba? Because you're talking about his goals and assists. I'm looking at this right now. Gini's got 1 goal, Pogba's got 2, and neither of them have got any assists. So you're saying, what does he do apart from running around? I could say the same thing about Pogba. There's 1 difference in goals. And Pogba plays more advanced than Gini does.
No, he doesn't. No.
What about
how are you telling me he doesn't? He does play more advanced.
I actually watched Manchester United, and
I watched Liverpool.
And one of the complaints that Man United's fans have is that Paul Pogba plays too deep. So you can't come in here.
He plays too deep for you, bro. There's
Gini starts number 6 a lot of the games.
Gini plays 6 a lot of the time, bro. 6, number 6.
One second. All right, here, one second. Just on the defending side, yeah? Let's put Paul Pogba and Wijnaldum, yeah? On the defending side, we've got Pogba leading, yeah, on the tackles, successful tackles. We've got him leading on clearances, 21 clearances for Pogba versus 5 for Wijnaldum. End comparison.
No. Sorry, let's not end the comparison there. Let's go all the way in. Let's go all the way in. Hold on, Matt. Let's go all the way in if we're doing stats for defensive, yeah? Because interceptions, Gini beats him on that. And dribble pass per game, Gini beats him on that. Blocks, Gini beats him on that as well. So let's not just give stats to back one player. Let's do the overall. Let's do overall.
Guys, let's slow this down. They're both in the team right now. We're going to let the audience decide. Get your super chats in and let us know. We have already got some bids in for players already, so that's going to change things around once we finish picking ours. The forwards. We've put in there now Salah on the right, Rashford on the left, Cavani through the middle. I suppose the only real contentious one in that is Cavani through the middle.
Yeah, I'm a United fan. I'll even say, out of all the games being played, it has to be Bobby. You know what I mean? It has to be.
Does it have to be, KJ?
If we talk about strikers this season, none of the strikers this season for both teams have been firing that much.
Agree.
They haven't been that great. So you look at what they've been doing, and the best one has been Bobby Firmino.
I'm not saying that Rashford hasn't been playing well this season, because Rashford has been playing well, and he's a good player.
Don't do it.
No. But here's the thing. First of all, Cal, do me a favor, bro. My fellow cop-eye. Can you go and just get me the stats in terms of goals and assists for Mane and Rashford, please, while I make my point?
I got them.
People always want to bring down Mane this season, yeah, and he hasn't been up to his usual standard, 100%. But it comes back to the same argument we just had about Wijnaldum and Pogba. He does so much more for the team than just score goals. I won't have the disrespect of saying, because he hasn't got loads of goals, he's crap, he's not playing well this season, blah. On top of that, I actually don't even know, as I'm waiting for Cal to tell me, whether Rashford, in terms of goals and assists, is even that much further ahead. So if you think about how much work he does defensively, how much teamwork Mane does on top of the goals and assists, why is Rashford having a better season than Mane?
Terry, I want Cal to say it. Go on.
It's because of the goals.
You want my opinion or you want me to tell the stats?
No. What? Just quickly, what's the goals and assists in comparison with Mane? And Rashford?
Mane's got 6 goals. Rashford's got 7. Mane's got 2 assists. Rashford's got 5 assists.
Boom.
So statistically, Rashford's a little bit better, but not massively better. But apparently, Rashford's been on fire and Mane's been crap.
What about across all comps as well?
Yeah, but if we're going to do all comps, then that puts Gini ahead of Pogba in the Champions League, for example. So, like, if we're going to do that, I'm cool with that.
No, I'm saying, for me, Rashford, a lesser player in a worse team with an average manager.
You're top of the league, Tom. It's not necessarily a worse team.
No.
You're top of the league. Hold on.
Stop. You can't. There's 2 things here. Firstly, you can't say we're top of the league. So are you willing to admit we're better than Liverpool then?
Well, I heard the show that you lot did after you won against Burnley, and all of you said the table doesn't lie. You're the best team in the league at the moment. You all said it.
I'm not asking what we said. Or are you?
So, no, but I'm going by. I'm using you lot's logic.
So I'm asking for your logic here. I'm happy to accept that Rashford should be doing better than Mane because he's in a better team than Mane. If you're willing to say Man United are better than Liverpool live on the air,
Man United at the moment are better than Liverpool. Yes. You're top of the league.
Cool. So I'm happy. That's cool. Rashford's in a better team, but he's also outperforming him, so he stays in. And Rashford's
but the whole point I was making is I know Mane's been on a bit of a goal drought this season, but if you actually do watch Liverpool, he is exceptional at all-round play. It's not just about goals.
If you want, we can take out Cavani and Bobby and put Mane in there. No one's arguing.
Yeah, I'd rather Rashford through the middle and Mane played on the left. I'll prefer that.
It's not where he's been playing, though. It's not where he's been playing.
That's the thing. I agree, Callum. Rashford's been playing on the left. He played on the right at times, but he's not getting over Salah. Like Salah is on every combined 11 in world football right now. But he's been playing on the left. His performances and his contribution to the game, his match-winning contributions, is from the left. So to move him from there to force in Mane, I think is wrong because I don't think Mane's being good enough to force in. If you had a case of 3 players and you're like, well, Salah has to be in, throw him up front because he can play up front, then there's an argument. But I don't think Mane's been good enough to force him in. However, I would agree with Drifty in the sense that you can't put everything down to numbers. I look at the Southampton game and you lost the game 1-0. And I guess people will say, where were your strikers? You missed this, you missed that. Mane was easily the best attacker on the pitch for me, but there was no goal, there was no assist to prove for it. But when you, as a forward and Liverpool's forwards, and you all say it, because Firmino's not the goal scorer, so your wide forwards are your goal scorers. When you go 2 months without scoring a Premier League goal, I think that's a big blot in his season.
I agree.
I can't disagree with that. That's correct. Yeah.
That's fact.
That's it. So what we're doing with this round, I've put the wrong people back in here. So why would nobody? I mean, personally, I kind of put him in there for a bit of debate. I know he's been out injured. I'd play Jota through the middle as being the best striker so far this season out of everyone's teams, players.
I would have said that, but I didn't think we was allowed to play injured players.
Yeah,
that's what I thought as well.
The reason I took out the other 2 is because they barely played a game this season, and they're not going to play a game this season, which is very unlikely. Where Jota's going to be back really soon, isn't he? Like he's on the way back.
To be fair, Jota's got 5 in 9, so he
should be in there. He should be in there.
So who are we going with?
That's fair enough.
Jota, then, of course, that's a no-brainer.
That's our team. We need the audience. They're already settled the rest of this debate. So we've got some bids in here. There's a currency that's come in. I don't know how much money it is in British pounds. So I don't know how much it's going to be. I've got to do the conversion rate right now. I'm very, very sorry. Sometimes it looks like it could be a lot. And then other times, okay, it's £10. Wow. Okay, so this is an interesting one. So I'm going to change this based on the bids that have come in. So firstly, Bruno Fernandes has been kicked out of the team. Fernandes out. No. We'll get to this in a minute. So I've got to go through this. Fred, not for Fred. Fred's been put into the midfield as well. Gini's been removed from the midfield because we've got another one to do here. Henderson's been removed from the midfield as well. So we've had a 199 bid for, I've got to find him. I can't see his face. There he is. Thiago to be in the midfield.
Fred hasn't played enough games.
Fred has got £5. I can't go. The audience rules on this. Fred got £5 against his name and Paul Pogba 199. There's been a big change at the back as well. Fabinho is out And with a massive £10 bid, Victor Lindelof is in.
Violating, bro. Come on, man.
Comedy at its best. You love to see it.
The audience team so far, the audience is free to pick who they want. So at the moment, if you want to take out Lindelof, it's going to cost you £10. If you want to take out anyone who hasn't had a bid, it's free. You can put whoever you want in. Fred has £5 to his name. Robertson is in with £3 to his name. Pogba up £2. Thiago £2, and Lindelof, as I say, sitting there on 10. No Bruno in this team, no Henderson. Man United fans, are you going to sit there? Liverpool fans, are you going to sit there and accept this team?
Listen, Man United fans, are you really going to have this? Taking Bruno out of the team? Man better get
Devil advocates in there quick. Man said put Bruno back with that £10, fam.
£10 straight in there.
I've got a question for the.
Hold on, shouldn't it have to be 11 to put him back in there? Hold on.
No, you outbid. So I've got to make a decision now. Whether you need to tell me, David, where it's Pogba.
Adios,
Thiago. He's going to put Thiago out because he's a Man United fan. So that means that then Bruno's in there and safe by £8 because it's £2 to take the other guy and £8 for himself. I'm basically running a trading book here. Is what we do. We're trading. Trading going on now. Bruno's
Man United fans don't have it. I'm just telling you, don't have it, bro. Don't have it, bro. Don't get out.
I think you lot should more have a word with your people about Lindelof at £10. What the fuck?
Oh, who cares, fam? Who cares about who they want in there, bro?
That's Lindelof's relative is watching this thing, bro. Yeah.
That must be his gran.
You're Liverpool fans. I got a question. More for Zayn. What has Thiago done in a Liverpool shirt for you to be so confident that everything's gonna change just because he's in the team?
It's not just about what he's done in Liverpool shirt, bro.
Yeah, no. But my question is, I know what he's done outside of Liverpool. My question is, in a Liverpool shirt.
Oh, set a record on his debut.
Yeah.
The Christiansen.
All right, Lee. KJ, you wanted me to answer?
Yeah. What feels
because I've obviously talked about Thiago a lot, like he's the next savior and stuff, right? I know you're going to start saying, "Oh, it was under 18s, or it was the kids under 13s, whatever," right? But that first half, right, was dire. It was embarrassing, right? 1-1 against those young boys. It was not quite right. But as soon as Thiago came on in the second half, I saw what I was looking for because we've been playing kind of dead football. No, I'm keeping it real.
Let him go.
Sorry, hang on, Zane. If I go and punch my 2-year-old in the face right now, that doesn't mean I'm McGregor.
I'm looking at the football, bro. I'm looking at the football. We're playing the same dead football in the first half.
Alfie, Terry, let him go.
1 second. That shows, Zane, that shows how bad your team is as opposed to how good Thiago is.
They've been out of rhythm, and Thiago's come in there, and that rhythm's picked up. Suddenly, second half, balls were pinging around a lot quicker.
Get out of here, man. No one goes play.
No, hold on. Zane, I hear you because I love him as well. So I think the under 18s isn't a good example. But to KJ, I'm not even going to ask Nick. He's smart enough. I already know this. Alfie and KJ, are you in any way, shape, or form doubting Thiago's the best midfielder?
No. Listen.
Okay. I just needed to know.
Best midfielder what? Best midfielder what?
Apart from arguably KDB, he's the best midfielder in the league.
Okay, well, I wasn't sure what you're saying with Liverpool in the world.
Okay, guys, we've had some bids come in that we've got to go to now. The first one is Martial in, Salah out. Wow. Martial goes in. He's got a £17 tag on his name now. So 17 quid to get him out. But there's been some, this is going to be controversial with the United fans. The next one is David De Gea is in for £2 over Alisson. So David De Gea is now in, which is interesting. On top of that, though, Mane in, Rashford out. Mane has £5 to his name. Rashford's out of the team. Wow. So let me just make this change. Where is Mane gone? I can't see it.
From the moment Lindelof got put in there, I stopped caring.
It's just vibes. Yeah, it's just vibes.
Freestyling vibes.
Do you know, I need to say this here to everyone, including the panel, yeah? But I think because of what Rashford has achieved in the year 2020 should be untouchable with no amount of money taken.
Yo, listen. This ain't about emotion up in the football terrace, bro. You know what I'm saying? Pay the peas to get your man in.
I said it. I'm done.
All right. But Drifty, to the reason why I was asking that question is because Zayn comes on the football terrace a lot, brags about Thiago. And for me, he's been injured for most of it. So how is he coming with so much gas over a guy saying he's going to split the defense and he's going to create all these chances when...
No, but KJ, that's what I'm saying, because that's based on career. That's based on receipts. If you sign Messi tomorrow and he was injured for a month, you're not going to care he hasn't played yet. You've got Messi in it.
You know what's interesting, though? When I came with this logic, when we signed Bruno Fernandes and I said we've signed the best attacking midfielder in the world, it was based on what I'd seen him do for 2.5 years, both domestically in Portugal, but also on the European front as well. And everyone's like, he's got to prove it in the league first. I understand that Thiago has won major trophies in every country he's been in, but we've also seen, like, you lot are all old enough to remember how good Varane was when Man United signed him. But no one, it doesn't mean he's going to turn into the best player in the league. For me, I think you have to judge people based on what they end up doing. Although you're right, when he's come in, he's one of the best midfielders in the league straight away. It's just interesting to see how that translates. We've had some more mammoth bids coming in that I've got to go to. Though. I can't. First of all, Mo Salah's back in the team. Mo Salah, it'll be in the position he plays in, so it's going to have to be over Anthony Martial. So he goes in. That means that Mo Salah now has a book of £3 price on his head because he had to take out £17 the other way. Take Mane out, Rashford back in. So that means Rashford has a £5 bounty on his head now that he can't be taken out for. There's been more as well. There was one that says put Henderson in. I don't have Henderson's emoji, so I have to go and get that. The next one is do me a favor, put De Gea back in. I can't because someone spent a tenner. A tenner, which means it's £3 more to get David De Gea back in. I can't disrespect other people's super chats. I'm afraid that would be very cruel of me, but we've had more. Terrace in over Robertson.
Oh,
wow. Terry, have you blocked Liverpool fans? Are we? Is there only Man U fans watching?
No, they're watching. I see them in the chat. They just don't want to pay the peas.
It's all about who got the, you know.
And this is bad. This is one here. This is interesting. Dan James in this team. Dan James in again. I don't have a pick. Who we thinking?
Mo Salah, please.
Mo Salah.
I mean,
technically, out. Dan James is in. He's got a 17 quid to get Dan James out. I've got to go and get the emojis for Dan James and Henderson. But I love this game. I love people having their
agendas. Oh, I love you guys.
But you see what I have to do, Coppish guys. You see what I have to deal with on this, mate. The banner, the disrespect, bro. I'm getting.
We're here for you, bro. We're here for you, bro.
No. Hold on. One thing, like KJ. One thing. Let me finish up with the Thiago bit. The one thing that I like, I look at his body language. When he comes on, people know he's the man. He's the general because the way he just comes on. I saw the way Henderson went up to him like, best boss. What do you want? Do you know what I mean? He's got that. He's got respect. He's not like a mini Mino where he comes on, no one even acknowledges him. Do you get me in the team? Thiago's got that presence.
You're getting guessed about Thiago because man walks.
It's all part of football. No, it's that mental respect.
Okay. If that's you, that's you.
No, KJ, I'm not gonna lie. I got to back Zayn on this. When Thiago walks around, there is a Dragon Ball Z orb around him.
Exactly. You know.
I'm not joking.
Crazy about him arriving is I saw it causing. I didn't know it come from Liverpool's the channel because I don't watch Liverpool's actual TV channel. But there was the video that came out that Sky used. They just literally stripped it. Obviously got permission from Liverpool FC TV, and they used it on Sky. And there's a lot of people saying well, where's the impartiality? Like the way you're bigging up a man that's barely kicked a ball in the Premier League is a madness. But I sometimes feel like people have got to understand that the Premier League is selling its brand. So when you have a star like Thiago who has worldwide global fan base, the Premier League has to get behind that deal in the same way as it would get behind any mammoth deal because they want to sell. They want people tuning in to watch it on television. I'm going to make the updates soon. I literally didn't even have emojis ready for the likes of Igalo and Henderson. We'll get that done.
Because you shouldn't need them.
Igalo. That's what Igalo, you know.
Does Igalo still play for you? I thought he went back.
I thought he left.
End of the month.
At the end of the month, do you know what's going to be interesting? Imagine he comes on because the injury is saying and scores the winner.
I got a question for the Liverpool boys. Specifically, probably Drifting Callum, because you both mentioned it earlier. Well, both mentioned him, Bruno Fernandes. How do you actually rate Bruno Fernandes? Because there's obviously a lot of banter about Bruno, pen merchant. I embrace the term Fernandes. We know he loses the ball, but you look at Trent, for example. I can't remember what game was it, Southampton, where he lost the game ball 38 times. But as Drifty stated on the Coppish, he's the main creator. So he's the ball's either going to reach the target or it's not. But he's always going to be making the passes. What is your real belief on Bruno Fernandes, a midfielder?
You want me to go first, Cal?
I rate him high. I've made no secret of it. I didn't want you guys to sign him. I wanted us to sign him. I rate Bruno high. It's a shame the shirt he wears, but apart from that, he's quality. No, I gotta call it how I call it personally. I rate him. I will always rate him.
Yeah, I rate him. He is a top player. I don't think he's as good as Man United fans say he is, but he is a top player.
I mean, I rate him as well because the facts don't lie. Since he's come into your team, you've been in an upward trajectory, right?
So now the numbers count. Okay, cool.
No. I'm keeping it real.
Numbers, KJ. For me, he was that catalyst. Like he just galvanized the team. Like even if he doesn't score, he just you just saw the change in mentality when he joined your club.
You know what? For me, it's a lot more about attitude. It's a lot more about attitude because I think Pogba's a better player than Bruno, but Bruno's got a better attitude.
Yeah. And do you know what it is as well? I think when he walked into the team, he gave you that X factor that you needed at that time. So when you had the uncertainty of Paul Pogba potentially leaving, getting him there, whether he was going to be the replacement or not, it didn't really matter. Because when Bruno come onto the pitch, he was like, I don't care what's going on behind the scenes. I'm going to help galvanize this team. And that's what he's done. So I know we all joke about Fernandes and all that because it is kind of funny. But at the same time, the guy's class. I ain't going to deny that. I wanted him at Liverpool. I'll even admit that. I wanted him.
Two quick things. One, just so people remember, Paul Pogba was injured when Bruno Fernandes was bought. So people trying to use it as an agenda to say he benched Pogba. No, he was actually not even able to play.
KJ has been like defending Pogba hard for about 3 months.
I've seen it.
I'm like, KJ. Like Pogba's a big 90 million player.
No. Have I not also said he needs to go?
I'm not saying it's wrong. It's just funny because
today has been wild on the.
You know what's funny though? There are certain things. A lot of people try and discount that Man United have a thing that's connected to the club about DNA and whatnot. Bruno physically demonstrates the key ingredient that Man United fans globally want above ability. Coupled with ability is that determination. One thing we loved about Ronaldo, Rooney, Tevez, Cantona, Giggs, Scholes, you could see it on their face when one pass went right. It's like they screw their face up. They're angry. They're moaning. They shout at themselves when they make mistakes. This isn't actually Pogba's fault or Martial's fault. They're quite introverted in that way. It's strange to look at Pogba as an introvert. He kind of is on the football pitch. You don't often see that much expression coming out of him. So you can't physically see.
The Pogba gets the expressions. That's why people don't like him because, why are you making your face up? Go chase the ball back. That's.
Yeah, but the point is, some people's expressions don't actually demonstrate exactly how they think and feel. And I think Pogba and Martial both suffer with that as individuals, where it's so obvious what Bruno Fernandes' body language is. And I sometimes feel it's interesting that if you meet some of these people, I actually think the thing that Solskjaer did a few weeks ago, where he actually brought the likes of Giggs and Roy Keane into the club to meet some of these players like Paul Pogba. I think there's been an interesting change in the way I've heard a lot of the sort of Scholeses and the Roy Keane start to say things about Pogba along the lines of, he's probably a really nice lad. And I think that's because they've actually been introduced to him and they look at him, they spoke to him and realized actually he's not how I perceive him visually, but he's actually a lot harder worker than he is. And sometimes perception can be reality for certain people. We've got 3 minutes to go on this show, ladies and gentlemen. We've had more bids come in. We've got to go through these. First one is Trent in over AWB. So Trent's been moved back into the team. Liverpool fans stepping up for their players at long last. I can't find Trent. He is in. AWB is out. And that puts a £5 bounty in for Trent. Lindelof is still there. We had loads more coming that I've got to go through. David De Gea in. I can't put De Gea in though because there was a £10 bounty on Henderson's head, which means the Henderson bounty is now £5. If you want to remove him, it's £5. Next up, Vibe FC should get a player. I don't know what that means.
Yes, I think you're saying that KJ should have a trump card. I'm totally down.
Okay, where's Igalo? Igalo's in the team. Igalo now has, because there's a second bid for him, Igalo now has a £4 bounty on his head to remove him. I don't know if that's come in because there's been a lot of super chats.
More than we paid for him. More than we paid for him.
Next up, Terry.
More than he's worth, bro.
I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means.
So basically, on Midnight Vibes, there was some good super chats coming that was dedicated to us.
Okay.
Money.
In bad script. McSauce for Pastor Fred. Wow. Fred's been moved and McTominay's been put in by Agent Bad Vibes. Agent Bad Vibes.
What's wrong with you?
Terry, read the rest of it. Read the rest of it.
Also, is Scotty like how Henderson started at Liverpool? Yes. I agree. He's better than Igalo over Salah.
Oh my God.
Man said he's better than Henderson, you know.
Igalo £25 now to get Igalo, £24 to get Igalo out of the team. But he's already, I can't move out Salah unless you want. Listen, Ben, because you put that in. If you want me to take Salah out and put somebody else in, let me know because you spent quite a bit. There's a few more here. I think McFred. I don't know what. Okay, cool. Spider One, look at that over the. I love to see it. I love to see it. AWB's back in. We have got 2 minutes to go to get your final bids into this team. Get your final bids in. Look at it. I mean, it's all Man United barring Mo Salah. It's all Man United barring Mo Salah.
I think that's a bit about right, isn't it? It's like when Liverpool got slapped 7-2 and Mo Salah's the only one that turned up. So
this is the correct representation of the commercialization of both teams, bro. This is Man United in the stock market versus Liverpool got no P unless they sell.
Oh, De Gea's now back in the team over Hendo, and he's got a £5 bounty on his
Tell that to the Glaziers. Tell that to the Glaziers.
So who
Glazers solid spending without even selling like that.
Ben,
Dan James.
Who goes in?
Dan James.
Oh, Dan James. Oh, yes, Dan James had the big bid going, didn't he? Dan James in the team. Jesus Christ, Lord.
This is a perfect example of the gas level. You lot are almost as bad as Arsenal fans. My days.
Almost. We are, bro. We all are.
Real talk. You are. Real talk. I'm not even going to lie. Real talk.
We are the same. We are the same, bro.
But the thing is, you see the difference is where I think we're Man United, we're loving it right now. Nobody expected us to be here, not even Man United fans, let alone anyone else. So we are enjoying it. Come Sunday, we might be second, and come the next week, Man City might be ahead of both of us. Like, we don't know. But whilst we're here for 3-4 days, we are going to. Everyone has to remember we were here, regardless of where we end up. So listen, we're not getting too ahead of us.
For a team with a PE teacher, a fridge, a dab merchant. What's he got? A MP, a sir up front and that, you know what I'm saying? With all these bad players that we apparently got, for us to be where we are, I will take advantage of that.
Interesting. Rivals should always be trying to put us down. That is the nature of the beast. What I love is the Ollie Outers who have suddenly in the last 2 weeks gone, oh, this squad's good enough to win the league. And do you know what's mad about it? Just go back through their tweets, their Insta posts, their YouTube videos, whatever platform these individuals be on, Facebook, some of them, barring Pogba and Martial and a little bit of Fred and a little bit of Van der Beek that hasn't played, they have slagged off, and they none of them, they all think that De Gea is pretty much over the hill. They think Luke Shaw is absolutely worthless. They think they laugh at the way the technique of AWB. They don't rate Lindelof. They don't rate Maguire at all. In midfield, like literally every time he gets picked, they get McTominay trending with anger. They think Matic is slow and over the hill. They have a go at Bruno Fernandes that he's a 5-pass merchant, stat padder. Trashford is Trashford, Rash Bandicoot. Do you know what I mean? Go for your kids. Martial they like. Dan James they hate. Greenwood they quite rate. So literally these bandits out here saying that we've got a team that's good enough to win the league. Up until 2 weeks ago, they only rated 5 of 23 players. And now suddenly It's an amazing squad. I absolutely, but for me,
why?
I love seeing it. It's beautiful.
You know why? It's going to be one of the greatest setups I've ever seen in my life. For like to set up a 4 guy in Ollie, in the reason why we didn't win the league. Think it's good enough or not? Oh, the way that they're going about it is actually strategic, bro. You know what I mean? It's actually tactically masterful. Like I can't even.
It ain't gonna wash with me in it. We're not good enough to win the league.
I kind of get it, right? And I've seen, again, and the kind of accounts I've seen do it. I don't know one of them. I think it's like United Rizzy or United. I see the way they tweet, and there's that guy that's like Paul Pogba's dad or whatever. All
Pogba Senior.
Yeah. But the point I'm making is these Twitter accounts, and I've seen a few of the same on Facebook and stuff. They make me die, bruv. And this is my point. It's fun. I don't sit there and boil and get angry about it. I'm just sort of like, who falls for it? Like what I laugh at is the people that fall for it. Like you sort of sit there and I'm like, I see YouTubers doing it, and I'm sort of like, that YouTuber's genius because it gets them trending, it gets them popular. And there's almost this, everyone that, what I sort of, this is how I look at it. It's like this. You've got all these Ollie haters at home going, oh my God, we're doing well. How do I get out of this hole? And then it'll be a YouTube video, a really good Twitter post. And they're like, it's like, that's what I'm going to use. And then you just hear them all repeat the same words. They all have the same argument, word for word, same language, same technique. I find it hilarious that they're so easily manipulated just because they want to win their argument. It's honest to God. It's absolutely beautiful to see. I love it. I love it.
Terry, but one thing I want to say, I want to keep it real with you, right? What receipts has Ole got, man? Because all I can say at the moment, he's bottled 3 semi-finals. He bottled the group qualifications to group stage. So what has he actually delivered? It's not about potential. You're talking about potential. Potentially he could win the league this season. But what has he done for Man U? And that's the rule. And you got to address that.
Fair fact. Fair fact.
Okay, but why are you asking that question?
Why? What's the point?
Of that question?
But because you're saying you're giving an opinion on his Ollie haters, but in my opinion, why I won't give Ollie respect at the moment is because of what I've just said. What has he actually delivered?
Alf, let me do it. So the point is this. What's he done? That's a fair question if I'm claiming he's a top-class manager, a great manager. He's doing an outstanding job and there's no way to criticize him. You can say, well, what's he actually done, though? I think he's a manager that started well as an interim, had a poor first 9 months as the first team manager, permanent 33% win percentage, something along those lines. And I think he has steadily made us better over the last 12 months. So I give him credit for that. The jury's still out for most people like me as to whether or not he's good enough to take us over the line. I will credit him for the improvements. I'll criticize him for not getting us over the line in certain competitions. And that's where it is with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. It isn't any more than that. What I'll also say about people is this. The Ole outers and the haters and rivals, they flip it all the time. They flip the switch. 1 minute, he's a manager that's achieved nothing and he shouldn't be given any, he should be, why is he even in this job? The next minute when he does well, they say, well, I expect that from a manager with 10 years experience. Well, are we including his 10 years experience or not? And if we're going to include his 10-year experiences into why he should be doing better, then we have to also include what he won in those 10 years. You can't pick and choose what elements of Ollie we accept and which elements of him we reject. But equally, one sec, Alf, I don't lose any energy on this in the sense of I legitimately find it entertaining. It's like, how far are you going to bend over today and let rivals bang you up the backside just so you can win the argument on Ollie? It's beautiful. It's beautiful to see. Go on, Alf, for last word, and then we're done.
I'd like to answer your question, Zayn, yeah? Without giving too much smoke to you, yeah? What has Ollie done, you asked, yeah? Ollie, in his first summer transfer window, said to the world and the board, give me 4 players and I will smoke every team go unbeaten. They got him 3 out of the 4, yeah? And as soon as the January window came, he got his 4th, and then he went from that moment on unbeaten to the end of the season. If you want to count facts, that's stats for you, which you cannot argue with. He went unbeaten till the end of that season, yeah? Right. And then he looked at the teams again in the summer and said, yo, listen, this is the players that I need, and didn't get all of his players, yet still now he's at the top of the league. So that's what he's done in the last 2 years, factually with numbers.
What's he won? What's he achieved? That's all I care about. Where's the record? Where's the receipts?
All right.
For Man U.
And Zayn.
What do you want? Nothing.
Zayn, and that's a fair question. Zayn, but evidence of what? What claim are we making?
Can I ask a question? Because
the only time in life you need receipts. If I walk into a shop and say, "Can I return this TV?" They say, "Can I see the receipt?" We're not making a claim, bro. We're not claiming something or asking for anything. We're simply saying he's improving us. And we're on an upward trajectory at the moment. Let's see where it takes us.
Are you trying to Zayn, are you trying to defend the Ollie outers? Are you trying to defend them?
Zayn is Ollie out because he's scared, isn't it?
I want Ollie in for the next 5 years like David Moyes. I was gutted when we lost David Moyes.
In the show, I've got a couple more super chats to do here. First one says, how long did it take Klopp to win a trophy with Liverpool? I think it was it 3 years?
Oh, please. Oh, please. Oh, please. Oh, please. Oh, please. Oh, please.
See, what you're doing is you're thinking that I'm comparing Klopp.
No, I'm Jailbird. I'm talking to Jailbird. I'm like, oh, please. Oh, please. Oh, please. I don't know. I don't even want to be disrespectful, but Jailbird, maybe you don't know what the real world's saying. I don't know. Bro,
maybe he's not even trying to compare, though.
This stat's very interesting.
They did this with Arteta. Come on, Man U fans, be better. Be better. Please.
Guys.
Please.
Guys, I've got a couple more super chats to do. This one says, apparently without pens, Man United would be joint second. Without pens, Liverpool would be this season.
Can I just say, listen, if we're gonna use pens as this argument that people like to, this VAR decision, that amount of VAR, you'll be in this place, that place. It's ridiculous because if you get a pen in one game or in 1 minute, it can change the outcome. If you don't get it, you might get a corner and score from it anyway. Like it literally means nothing. But if you're going to use it as a fit case to discredit Man United, then cool, I'm here for that stat, innit? Liverpool 10.
Like I've said already. Listen, I don't think Ollie's a great manager at this moment in time. To be a great manager, I'll never call him a great manager until he wins back-to-back league titles in the Champions League. That's my bar to even have the word great put next to your name. I think right now, he's a good elite level manager. Can he move into the very good, the elite category of those people? Who knows? So I don't need to give anybody receipts on that. What I do know is we're moving forward. What I love seeing is rivals try and discredit everything we do. We're only top because Liverpool have gone backwards. We're only top because we get penalties. We're only top because of Bruno. We're only top because of X, Y, and Z. I love seeing Ollie's detractors. And I'm not an Ollie inner, by the way, because I wouldn't defend every single element of him because he makes mistakes. But I love seeing them kind of go from we've got a trash squad to this squad can win the league. And do you know what the irony is? The vast majority of the Jose outers all said the same thing. This squad's good enough to win the league. By the time we were struggling under the first little bit of Ollie, they were like, we've got to get rid of about at least 10, 12 deadwood players. They literally, every single manager, go back and watch the fan cams on Full-Time Devils on United Stand. When the sackings of Moyes, LVG and Jose were close, each time the Man United fan base that wanted the manager sacked said, this current squad's good enough to win the league with a better manager. That's why I can't take it seriously that we're doing it 4 times running, because the history's on my side. That it's partly the manager and it's partly the players, but this squad's really decent. Of course it is. And maybe a better manager could take us forward. But we've done that twice before and it failed. So there's no proof in any pudding that Man United would be successful that way. It's going to be a massive game Sunday, 8 o'clock. We're live on Coppish. Come and join us over there. Are you all 3 of you on there?
Yeah.
Matt in distress. I see it.
I'm tired, fam. I'm just tired of hearing. I just can't wait till Sunday. Man's tired of the talk now, innit? We'll talk on Sunday, fam. We'll talk on Sunday.
So we're going to be live over there.
I tell you what, if we lose, I will definitely be pimped down.
Trust me, fam. We can't lose this game, fam. I'm telling you. No way we're losing this game, fam.
You can't even draw this game. You have to win this game.
You're right. We have to win the game.
See you coming.
Listen, I've got a comment here I want to address.
I am a boy.
I got a embarrassed here. It says, pull out Rant, then stop hiding. Well, listen, Rant is certainly an Ollie outer, and Rant is certainly someone that has certain opinions about Man United style of play and stuff that I don't agree with. But he's been on the show at least 4 times since the first lockdown's begun, and we've had conversations about it. Equally, what I've said about Rants many times on this channel, and I'll say it again, just for any of you troublemakers trying to stir up trouble, is Rants is one of the only Ollie outers who I give respect to because he is completely unequivocal in his opinion, and his opinion has been the same for over a year now, and it hasn't changed. And he's also said it doesn't matter what Ollie does, he's never going to back him. So I credit him for the fact that he isn't going to change no matter what, and he says that up front. What he doesn't do is every 5 minutes find a new excuse as to why Ollie is bad. He has said these things consistently. So it isn't him that I'm referring to. So Mr. M. Harris, whoever you are with no face and no real name, stop trying to cause trouble. It's not going to happen. And like I said, I will keep laughing at Ollie outers the more wrong they get and the more they bend over backwards. For me, it's hilarious. Until then, everybody, take care of yourselves. Goodbye. God bless. And we'll see you